What's up, nephew? Hi, everybody. I'm sorry. I had a little technical problems. Um, Trying to get everything squared away. Um, okay. All right. So wait on Michelle to get on with me. Um, so yeah, just give me a second. But anyway, today I just want to talk a little bit about um, starting your transportation business. Um, and, and hold on a sec. What's going on, nephew? What's up, man? Oh, nothing, man. Just trying to do our little live today. I was talking to um Mia. You gotta you gotta come in through Crawford. You gotta sign in on Crawford Logistics. You know, you gotta come in. You in Crawford Naturals. Um, Let me see. Hold on a second. Hold on a second. Hold on a second. All right. Give me a second, everybody. I'm trying to get everybody going. Okay. Let me see. I'm trying to let me share. Why when they why you can't do Crawford Natural?
I don't know. It's okay. I have no clue.
What was you on when you can't do one regular one?
I don't know. It's okay. We can talk about that later.
I was just asking. I mean, yeah, I was just asking. Um, so I want to just gotta get it out there a little bit about the about um 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 about the startup costs of starting your own trucking business and stuff. Um, and Kelsey was on, but I think he signed off. It's just us right now. Um, and so what happened is that I know when we started talking about the startup costs. You know, I was talking to someone about it today, and they asked me how much you think it might start, and I explained to them. I said, well, depending on what you're thinking about doing. Um, oh, okay, you still here? Okay, Kels, thanks, man. And so what I was saying is that depending on what you're talking about. I told him, I said, so if you're talking about as far as range wise, I said I'm thinking in the range of about um, you can start trucking business depending on what type of equipment you want to buy. But if you were just starting from the beginning, I would say you had to start with the basics, um, which is what as far as starting, you have to get all the other things in place as far as your
What?
um.
Give me an example of what some of the basics are, like your truck, budgeting for what items would you can like you just bought you're starting a transportation business, so you're starting out as an independent contractor, right?
Of course.
And you said the first thing you want to decide to buy is your truck, right?
Well, the main thing I would say, depending on, like I said, you still got to get the first things together first.
And what is that?
Things. Well, first thing, do you have a name? What's the name?
A business name.
What's your business name?
Okay.
And so, some people, the main thing with them is like, okay, well, that should cost a lot. So,
Articles
yeah,
of incorporation
yeah,
cost start at like $100, up can go up to three between
three,
one. In some states, there is maybe even 500.
yeah, a little higher,
Mm-hmm.
and then, and so, at halftime they'd be like, okay, so start there, and then I'll say, okay, then you have to basically also think about, you know, are you going to rent the company from your home? Well, in the transportation business, of course, you can't park a truck in your subdivision or apartment
Exactly.
complex. So now you're talking about, okay, if I got to think about
The cost to
cost
park it.
to park it, once you purchase it, we ain't even got to that part yet.
And the average
And
parking
then
space,
you got to have a PO box. You got to have your PO box, or so a PO box is probably right now. I think they're like $95 a month. Um, you know,
maybe a little bit higher than
yeah,
that.
yeah. So and then
Parking.
parking. Then well, I'm gonna go back to also too. You have to make sure that you can solidify your name that you want. So that's the articles, and then you got, and that's the annual. That's your registration. I mean,
Which is the annual fee to re-register as well.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
So
So you got to first decide on what truck you want to get.
yeah,
You got to get your articles of incorporation completed,
yeah,
and then you
yeah.
have to find a place to park your truck, and that's normally between $150 to $200, depending on where you go.
Depending on where you go,
And
exactly.
then your articles of incorporation, that's a yearly fee,
Hmm. Yep, yep.
and the
And then, but see,
parking is a monthly fee.
it's monthly fee, and see what happens is, I'm sorry, I dropped my book. I'm sorry, I'm going in and out. I'm just trying to keep my face there. Um, and so what happens is, so once you get the, so that's why I tell people all the time. I say, you want to sit down and consult. We can talk about how you want to start this trucking company, and what you wanted out of this trucking company, and that's half the, and that's just the, so it's so many different, um fun, amount of, it takes to start it, and that's just the, just those few things, and we ain't even got to the truck,
Right.
you know, and that's the thing, you ain't got to the truck, and so with some people they'd be like, okay, well, because I just got a, good friend of mine, he just sent me something, and they're breaking down what the truck is, and I was like, man, I said I'll look at it, but like I said, at the end of the day, when you start, people think that you just jump right in. It's this the part that gets you when you're just starting. It's just it just really takes a toll for you. I'm walking in the building, so give me a second, everybody. Apologies. Um, trying to get to an area where I can adjust to, so we can really sit down and talk some things. Give me a second, man. I'm coming inside the building. Apologies once again. All right. Okay, there we go. Got my thumb in the way. Sorry. Yeah, you there? All right. Everybody there for a second. You got me there? Hear me back?
Yes, I can hear you.
Okay. All right. So walking in the door. Give me 1 second. I'm pause. No, I'll tell you. I was gonna pause for a second. Can you just pause for a second, me? Hold on a second. All right. So sorry about that, man. So yeah. So sorry, everybody. Apologize about that. I had to just take a quick second. Can
Yeah,
you hear me? Sorry.
I can hear you.
All right. So yeah. So what? Like I said, we start talking those numbers. Everybody starts saying, hey, you know what? Thinking that the trucking company is that simple, but it's not. It's not. And so, because the main thing about it, I want everybody to get off to starting a company right, and doing, some of the little, pitfalls I fell into, that I can make sure that, that they don't fall into them. And that's what I was saying about the, the structure of the company and everything, because because the thing about it is that, everybody think, okay, I can just automatically just, find my name, and and that name sometimes might already be taken. I remember I was telling, remember I mentioned a young lady named, that was doing her cupcakes, and she come to find out her name technically is already taken.
Is it taken by another cupcake company or?
It's taken by another person. I don't know if they do cupcakes. I think they do something in that area, but I don't know if it's cupcakes. But she said the lady's not using the name, so she said she reached out to her so she could start using the name. So so she said somebody had the name already currently.
Okay.
And so when she said that, I was like, okay, so that makes me say, okay. I told her, I said, you got to double check that first.
Was it?
And
Yeah, I would check the website. I would check to see if she has the web address too.
mhm, excuse me. And then I told her, I said, so those are the things, and that right there by itself, that's your research. I mean, we really, that's the small stuff. That, well, not small stuff, but that makes a big difference in the beginning.
Yeah.
Making sure you can get that name
Mm-hmm.
together, and then like I said, also too, sitting down and figure out, okay, how do I want to structure this company and stuff? Do I want to structure it in a way where it's, like I said earlier, um, because when you add your address, one thing about transportation, you have to have an address, for your business. You know what I'm saying? And then where that truck's going to be, where that, because people, because the thing about it is that once you get your name, then you got to send off your EIN number. Once you get your EIN number, hopefully you can get that. Um, and the startup costs on that. So we're probably somewhere in the range, just starting up right now. Probably in the range of $500 right here with all this. Just doing the research on your business name, and going ahead and locking in your name. I think you got to do it with the Secretary of State. It's probably about $100, something like
Mm,
that.
yeah. It varies state to state, but it's a minimum. It's $100 in the state of Georgia.
Okay, so we just use the state of Georgia. But like you said, it varies in the state to state. Um, and so just think about that. And then, then like I said, you got to get a PO box. PO box, you got to pay at least 6 months. So 6 months, I think it's 3, 6. I think it's 3, 6, and 12. I think is how it is, something like that, or something. But I know I think it's the minimum 6 is what I had to pay. So it might be the minimum 6.
Yeah,
I
you
don't know.
get a
But
PO box because it's good to keep your business separated from your house. Because some people will um, have their business information use the same address as their home,
and
but you
what that
want
does,
to keep it separate.
yeah, because what that does is once you do have your home address as your business, it opens it up to the public. Um, hey Tony, what's up, man? How y'all doing? Um, so what happens is you don't want to open you don't want to open your home up to the public like that, because now people start coming by your home and things like that. So it's best to obtain those three things first. Name, your company name. Like I said, Secretary of State. Then try to get you a business address.
Yeah, your EIN number you could get off the IRS website too. It's just a simple phone call. Take less than 5 minutes.
Yeah, take less than 5 minutes. Take less than
And
5 minutes.
yeah, and then the next thing you have to get is your NACS code.
Your NAT
Yeah,
code,
because
NAT code.
yeah, you're going to need that to open up a bank account. But unfortunately, you're going to have to be real creative with that NACS code when you open it. Certain banks when you open up your bank account because transportation is considered what?
Um, Transportation is considered just like in real estate. It's
Yeah,
considered a very
high risk.
a high risk company, high risk
Mm-hmm.
thing to
Yep.
start due to all the different, the insurance situations and things like that.
Yep.
And so you, because definitely, like, let's say for instance, depending on, like I said, we really ain't got to the equipment yet,
Yeah, all
but you
that.
just know you're in transportation,
Yeah.
and then and so with that, then and then so now if that's just and then one thing is too, we started out with as an LLC,
Yes, we started as an LLC.
and so when we started as an LLC, you know, which is and so now you have to understand, okay, you're gonna have to do, your
Tax.
articles of
Mm-hmm.
incorporation, I mean, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
And so, right then and there, you're gonna really have to bring, if you don't, if you, you can download software to help you with it. And I'll probably, eventually start telling people some of the software that you can do, or you can consult with Crawford Transportation. We can help you with this,
Mm-hmm.
to start to make sure you get your business off the ground. Because when we did it, we was, I made sure I had a PO box. I never really had it where I didn't, where somebody knew where I lived. We was able to get our. I did. When I first got the company name, I remember the it was a company called Crawford Transportation, and Crawford was, you know, um, it was so close to my name that the Secretary of State was really kind of like, I don't know if we want to, but that's why I had to add the and more on there. That's a little bit of what made the difference between Crawford Transportation and
Profit.
Crawford Transportation and more.
Mm-hmm.
See what I'm saying?
Wow.
So
Yeah.
yeah, so I had this.
But there's
That's another
also,
reason.
another, and it's crazy that you just said that because there's also another Crawford Transportation
It's
because
Crawford Trucking.
Crawford Trucking, yes, because we
Yeah,
get phone calls all the time for Crawford Trucking.
yeah, Crawford Trucking.
I think
Um,
there's a Crawford Transportation too. No, there's a
no,
Crawford Trucking, but
it's Crawford Trucking.
we get mistaken for being um like a different type of transportation company because I get calls for people wanting me to pick them up and take them to the doctor.
Yeah, yeah. That's that happens. That's why I said it's a Crawford Transportation out there, and it's a Crawford Trucking out there.
Mhm.
It's no Crawford Transportation out there
Mhm.
like Crawford. You got
Mhm.
the only thing out there is Crawford Transportation and more.
Mhm.
And the only reason that, like I said, the more was added was because of Crawford
Yeah.
Trucking. You know what I'm saying?
Mhm.
Um, but yeah. So that's those are some of the due diligence you have to do, right? Just right there. And we haven't even got into like and those like
The
those
piece of
costs right there can be,
the equipment you're going to use.
yeah, you can get it to 100. That's between 100. That right there is probably already between 200 to $500, just that a little bit right there. And
Mhm.
so and the thing about it, but that's any business. What we just talked about is any business. The NAT code is still part of any business.
Mhm.
You see what I'm saying? So we haven't really got to the the gist of, okay, you officially into trucking,
Right. Yeah. That's
and
just the startup for any business.
yeah,
Yes.
how you
The
doing?
startup process.
Yeah, exactly.
Mhm.
So that's what I'm saying. So that's so really and truly, like I said, we want everybody to do those few steps, and um so like I said, the main reason why I would just always talk about the PO box is because you don't want everybody knowing where you live, because your business will be public.
Yeah.
It's a public domain.
Mhm.
Once you enter into, getting your name with the Secretary of State and you run a business out your home, yeah, you save money. I get it. But you got to make sure that you set your ad, that your business address is separate. And I remember I used to have one with the post office. But I felt, like I said, the PO box thing was cool for a minute. But I think now the post office started adding their own suites to it too. But um, to me, I think the post office may be a little bit cheaper, But I me prefer the UPS store.
Well, the post office gives you a PO box. The route you took, they gave you an actual physical street address, as opposed to
Exactly. I'm
a,
sorry. Sorry about it. I'm kind of dehydrated a little
as
bit. Did a
opposed
little cooking this weekend.
as opposed to a PO box.
Yeah,
So the
yeah.
post office don't give you a street address.
It
They
don't.
just give you a PO box.
To get PO box. Yes.
Yeah.
See, yeah. Well, what they give you at the post
UPS store.
office, the UPS store give you a suite
Yeah.
or a unit number. You know
Yeah.
what I'm saying? So that gives you a physical address
And a
and
suite number.
suite. Yeah. So that way you can, and then, plus if you want to get checks and things like that, you can
Yeah, you
physically
want
get your
them to
check.
come somewhere more
Yeah.
secure. And also
Exactly.
too, let's not forget this, and this is what I do when we all the when we do when we have business ideas for businesses that we want. The first thing I do is I'll Google the business name.
Mm-hmm.
And the reason I do that is because to make sure that no one else has the business name, because that's also the name you want for your web address, for your domain.
Mm-hmm.
So, and then that's also the name you want for the extension of your business email address. You don't want a Gmail account. You don't want a Gmail address. We have one, but
Yeah.
that's not the one we use for our business.
Now you want the .com.
You want a .com or as the extension of your business name. So ours is info at Crawford and
Mm-hmm.
Associates.com, right?
Mm-hmm.
So, and then you want to make sure your web address is not taken
Yeah.
or being
Yeah.
used by someone else.
True.
So that's one of the first things I do in case. And then if it's taken, you're going to have to be creative about if you feel strongly about your name and it's not being used by the state of Georgia when you do your search,
Yeah.
but your web address can still be taken by somebody else and not being used. It could be held by somebody else because they want to hold it until somebody needs it, and then they're going to try and charge you a crazy amount of money for it. So you'll have to be creative about what your web address will be.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But see, though, that's what I said. That those things right there, it really is still, like I said, that's any business. What we just
Hmm.
talking about. We ain't even, like I said, we haven't even got to the part of the
The
business
equipment.
equipment. We ain't even got to that, because that's going to be what type of trucking company or transportation business you're going to have.
Hmm.
You know, because like I said, now you got to get to, like I said, you got all that done. So we talked about the registering your name with the Secretary of State. We talked about you getting your EIN
ID
number.
number. Hmm.
You
Tax
know what I'm
ID
saying?
number.
And
Hmm.
then we talked about getting a business address. And see, the thing about it is that the reason why you want to get the name and then get the tax ID number
Hmm.
is because what happens is that, so now if I got the name and my tax ID number first, then I say, okay, I want to now know what to add. So, and then I get my PO box because I want my tax ID information, going to that address, right?
Exactly.
So, so then when I do that, now it's time for me to go to the next step. The next step is, okay, how am I going to separate my finances? So now it's time to go get a bank account.
Hmm.
You know what I'm saying? So and so when you open that bank account, they're like, okay, so do what's your name? Okay, automatically you got your name already squared away. Okay, you have an address. Yeah, what address would you want on your checks? As far as open your account, once you open the account, where you want your bank statement to go? All that stuff right there matters. You can't go in there and say, okay, I got my company name and
Your tax ID number.
tax ID number, right? And then all of a sudden it's okay, well, what address you using? Well, I'm gonna use my address. Okay, so okay, no problem. When I put all that in, so now your checks is gonna come to your home.
Yeah, and it's going to sit out in the mailbox until you check your box.
Yeah, and
And you
then
better
now,
hope they're there and will you.
exactly. See what I'm saying? So now you're like, okay, and if you're like, oh man, somebody stole my checks. Well, why
Hmm.
would you have your checks come to your home?
Right. Yeah.
And then not only that, you just open your home up to public
Yeah.
records. So that's the irony of what I say. doing things with structure
Mm-hmm.
and just taking your time. But like I said, that right there is just getting a start of
Started.
the business. We ain't even talking about transportation. I ain't even. I mean,
That's
we ain't
the
even
S.
talk.
That was
We ain't
just
even
the
talking
S
about the
and
equipment.
start. You ain't
Yeah,
get to the ART yet.
exactly. Because like I said, you still got. Like I said, you still got to do your NAT code.
He's-
Because your NAT code, like I said, if you do the business bank account, okay. Now your NAT code.
Mhm.
Now your NAT code
Mhm.
is where you say, okay, my NAT code is going to be a part of whatever after the banking because now I feel like getting those out of the way. My NAT code is because like I said, let me take that back because when you do
Well, the
with,
next code.
with the Secretary of State, you
Let
have
me
to.
just say this real quick.
Mhm.
The NAT code is the North American Industry Classification System. And that code is what your business will be classified as. And if your business is retail, manufacturing, transportation, real estate, banking, every business has an industry, and that next code is what they determine if you're what type of industry you're in and if it's considered if it's considered high risk. So the bank is going to ask you what your
So
NAC code
so
is.
that's where you do the NAT code at when you go into the
Yeah.
bank. They want to know right there.
NAICS.com. Yeah.
Yeah, they want to know
Mm-hmm.
right there because that's the part that if you're in real estate, you got guys like, yeah, man, I do, um, um, I refurbish homes,
Yeah.
or things of that. Or I'm an investor in property. Okay, all right. They should know their NAT code. If not, there's certain banks they'll fund you for that because
Yeah.
regular banks may not fund you for that.
Right.
And and
They
to
may
give you a
not give
perfect
you a bank account either.
exactly, and then the perfect example I would say I want to pause right there at the bank account side is because depending on you know what you're doing in trucking, if you open a just let's say if this is like okay, I'm gonna use XYZ Bank. I'm not gonna call no names. You have to go in there and physically ask them, do y'all give commercial loans? If they don't do commercial loans at your bank, then why would you be at that bank? Because you're gonna need a commercial loan eventually. You know, if that's gonna be, see, we have several banks, and 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 I like my personal bank. It's not my business bank no more. You know why? They don't do commercial loans. So guess what? I'm Crawford is not with my personal bank. It's with banks that do commercial loans. See that?
Yeah.
So you got to go do your homework there with the bank. Not only just the NAT code, but when you get to the NAT code, just make sure that because that makes a difference if somebody's going to give you some financing down the road. They might not give it to you right then and there, but down the road. Because now they're going to start looking at your profit and loss statements to make sure you're making money based off what you're bringing into your bank statements monthly. They can look and say, okay, he's making a profit. Because
Yeah.
if everything coming in and everything going out, they're like, okay, you're not making a profit. You can look at your bank statement and tell you that. If you're not carrying nothing over to the next month, then they're like, okay, especially if you're carrying over the negative, you can forget it. You
Yeah. So
know?
what's the now that you got all that squared away,
Okay.
what's the price for the average price for the equipment?
Well, since it's, I'll go a little bit into it because, like I said, I want to keep things right at because
Okay.
we're going through.
Yeah. Cool. I'm
So
cool with that.
got to get ready, kind of
Wrap it up.
wrap it up
Okay.
because I want to stay here and then we'll go into equipment
Okay. That's cool.
next Tuesday. But I do want to but I just want to give my opinion, kind of back up a little bit. I'll tell anybody that and me, I want you to touch on this a little bit. The reason why I wanted to take the time to start talking about the startup costs, the cost of starting your business, um, and we just happen to be in transportation, so And like I said, the NAT code. What's the NAT code? What's the NAT code? What is it? What's the CAT NAT code stand
North
for?
American Industry Classification System.
Okay, and is that NAT code what .com or something? NAIC something .com?
NAICS.com.
Okay, and so, but I'm just gonna pause right here because I want to say if I had to back up, I remember you, Bay. You took that class. Well, not the class. You had some fun with some of your friends and colleagues and everything, and um y'all did the I just lost my train of thought. Y'all did the vision board. Remember? And I look at your vision board all the time, and I say to myself like, okay. Um, that's a unique way to get together just with family, friends, to just, or real people that, really wants to be in business. And and it's a fun gesture, but I think that when people do their vision board, I don't even know if they add these things I just talked about in the vision board. I'm not saying you don't, and I'm not saying, do you remember when you was at the party that they talked about things like, because how do you cut that out and put it on the vision board?
What, startup costs?
No, I'm talking about, I'm going to have a picture of, what I want my name to be. I mean, just tell me, I'm asking you to take me through it. What I want my name to be. So this tells me I got to go to Secretary of State.
No, that's not.
You see,
That's
yeah.
not something you put on a vision board.
Okay.
What you put on a normally what you put on the vision board is the end result
Mhm.
of what you're trying to do,
Okay.
not the process you go through to get there.
Okay.
You
So it's the end
you
result.
would just put your business
Okay.
on the vision board.
Okay.
What type of business you're opening,
Okay.
what type of business you're starting,
Okay.
and your goals based around that business. You will put that on a vision board.
Okay. So that's why I asked that question because somebody asked me, like, would I start there? I said, well, I'll ask my wife. I got to do my live, and what should they tell me? Because I always tell people, I said, man, try to create you a vision board or something what you want this business to look like. So I'm hoping I'm telling them right because I didn't do one. I know you went to one. That's why I asked that question. Because I'm always talking about you got to start the business. You got to have a business plan.
Well, yeah, I think
Um,
the business plan is a great place to start. And I also think a great place to start is just to write it down. Just write it down what you want, and just keep a separate journal just for all your goals that you want to accomplish in your business. And that's where you can start writing down the steps. You make your to-do list, which is your goals. You set goals every week, create a to-do list for, what you need to do. So get your NACS code, get your articles of incorporation, get your bank account. Because people will go to like LegalZoom and they'll go to all these online resources and even hire an attorney to do this stuff when they don't realize they can save so much more money if they just do it yourself. Because if you go on to irs.gov or your state website, it'll give you an example of articles of incorporation. It'll say, here's an article of incorporation, download this document, and all you do is enter in your information. So they just make it so simple for you to do it yourself. And that's why I think it's important that you communicate that to people, because some people don't have a lot of money to start a business. But if
yeah.
they realize some of the things that they can do themselves and it saves them money, then they'll really realize that they could go ahead and incorporate themselves, and fill out the articles of incorporation and do it themselves. We we know people that have been running their business for years and they just been running it off their personal bank account
Yeah, we do.
and don't have a LLC or a tax ID number.
Well, yeah, but that's why, that's
And
like I
that's
said,
not good, because when you run it off your when you run your business off of your personal social security number, um, and it's okay to do in the beginning, but when you start generating a certain amount of revenue, if something bad happens, they can come take your house from you, they can take your assets. But if you separate it and you separate it from your personal over to your business, then your personal assets are protected. And I don't think a lot of people take that into consideration when they start businesses.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, that's why I said those first few steps that we started, and yeah, we definitely had, if you definitely, some support. I come on here for the lives for free, and anybody, once these are filmed, we tape them live and then we post them on our website. Um, and if you got family and friends that see this and view that, just let us know, and we definitely don't mind consulting with whoever you send us,
Anyone who has questions
because like I
or
said, we can help them get started.
yeah.
If you want to consult with hire us as a consultant
Mm-hmm.
at CLA, we can get you started. The main goal for us is to make sure that you get off to the right
Yeah.
start. Because like I said, I had, tell you the story and then I'm gonna get ready so we can close on it. It's a gentleman that I don't know him personally, just know his story. And he just like one of the few that are out there that, bought his truck, about, I want to say about 2 years ago, a year ago. And he, and so what happened is that, everything was going good as far as during COVID, we was becoming essential workers, so we had more freight. Well, he had a day cab and things got a little bit slow now. So he ended up selling his truck and things like that. But the story, the more the story is that you can lose. It's this market has gotten so tight, and if you just get off to the wrong start, and we'll talk about that next about equipment, because remember when I first started I had a day cab.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
I remember I had to sleep in my truck and all those
Mm-hmm.
things, and then I used to have to find hotels. Well, that's how he started, and but his was a little bit different. The thing is that if I had to tell anybody advice, and we'll talk about it next Tuesday, equipment is important. That's why I'm saying having a vision of how you want to do this particular, you know, part of
Business.
transportation,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
and so we'll talk about equipment because we might get into some. I got, some stories that I talk about that I know personally. Someone, their son bought a dually. He was pulling cars, and it got to the point where it got tight for him pulling freight. He got a gooseneck. He was pulling cars. He was pulling just different things, and he parked the dually. And because it kept having breakdowns and things like that, tires going flat. So now he's working for a company, running, I think, out a little bit, but he went back to driving driving for someone. So a lot of that's going on now. And, and so if you get in with CLA, what we try to do is, me personally, I really want to have a conversation with you to make sure you're ready. Now, you can do what you want to do after we have our conversation. The main thing is just to make sure that, you having somebody that's going to speak the truth to you. And so as we go through this, we're going to take you down the road of starting your company. We're going to take you down the road of running your company. We're going to take you down the road of growing your company, on the lives, and we're going to stick to that. And and that's going to be what our next, most of our lives is going to be about for the next couple months. It's going to really take you down this path to just making sure that you clearly, that if you want to, get, really start your trucking company. So next week we'll talk about equipment, and I appreciate everybody, man. Like I always say, hey, me, I'm first of all, I'm gonna say, hey, what you got going with Crawford Natural?
Crawford Natural's coming up with some summer items. We are officially a vendor at the sister shop in Atlantic Station. So just look out for that launch date or the date that we will be in store. I will announce it on our Instagram page. So that's a big win for Crawford Naturals. And yeah, just and we will be restocking. We're going through a restock now on our
Awesome.
website.
What's up,
So
sis? I'll talk.
yeah.
DD
Hey
got
D,
on. Yeah.
we're doing a restocking on our website. So just look out for all the updates on our Crawford Naturals Instagram pages.
Okay, that's good stuff right there.
Hmm.
So, but yeah, so like everybody's, like I said, and once again, my wife, what's up, love? How you doing, sis? My my wife, she had to go the steps that we're talking about, even when we did the transportation. Starting the transportation, she had to go back and say, okay, this is how we got to start Crawford Natural. And it's really, like I said, we ain't even got into equipment yet. So
Right.
this is about our business. We just went through the first phases of just talking about the type of business you're gonna get in. Cause like I said, we got to the NAT code. Our NAT code happens to be up on the transportation. And so now we'll get into we told you that. So that means when we choose banks, we have to make sure our banks do commercial lending.
Hmm.
And that's where real estate and trucking always is the highest at the top of the food chain as far as the high risk
Hmm.
because of the commercial lending.
Hmm.
Um, so that's where that then, well, like I said, then we'll separate ourselves from everybody else from our NACO. Next week we'll talk about the equipment. So like I said, it's another day above ground. It's always a good day. Just want to tell everybody, man, talk to you next Tuesday. Everything's good. You
Yep.
good, baby? You good, baby? All
Hmm.
right. Peace. Love y'all. Talk to you
Bye,
in a minute.
y'all.
All right. Bye.